In this video, I will demonstrate a procedure for inducing octopus tonic immobility. This is a sort of temporary still state in the octopus, first described by Vasily Danilewsky and then Jasper Ten Cate, where the octopus does not try to locomote or move, but its arms can still respond to local stimuli, almost as if the octopus were sleeping. This tonic immobility is easier for the octopus to recover from than the more commonly used ethanol anesthesia, and it seems to be less stressful for the animal as well. Octopus tonic immobility is very useful for many experiments, including behavioral observations as well as preparation for local anesthesia and arm electrode implants. For this procedure, I start with the octopus in a net in artificial seawater, and I gently flip the octopus so that her mouth is facing up. I basically try to keep the octopus in this orientation for as long as possible until she starts to keep still. From my previous experiences, it seems that octopus tonic immobility induction is generally quicker with smaller octopuses and also much more difficult to carry out successfully in senescent octopuses. For this larger specimen of Octopus obescens, the tonic immobility procedure will actually take around an hour. While previous descriptions of the octopus tonic immobility procedure have involved taking the octopus out of the water, for our protocol we always keep the octopus in aerated seawater and make sure the animal is breathing well. Covering the eyes seems to help with the tonic immobility, so I try to keep a hand on the bottom of the net where her eyes are. And here I'm also using the other hand to further limit the light input, and we can see her go a bit more still from that. I also try to keep her close to the surface of the water so she can't flip over as easily. Here I try to use my hands to gently guide her back into the center of the net, paying close attention to her arms as well so that they don't go outside the net and don't attach to other surfaces. Here I'm also checking her breathing by taking a look at the movements of her mantle. As I go on longer with the procedure, the octopus seems to come out of her still states less and less frequently. And here, as we can see, I have removed my hands from the net. I'm pulling up the net a bit so the octopus is closer to the surface for better accessibility. She is breathing well, but she is also quite still. With the octopus tonic immobility, we can do many things, such as sensory stimulation of the arm and suckers for behavioral observations, as well as local anesthesia, such as with magnesium chloride injections. The local anesthesia can be used to temporarily disrupt communication between an arm and the central nervous system. This means that the local anesthesia can block any incoming sensory signals, after which we can implant tiny electrodes in the arm to measure electrical activity of muscles and nerves. So here I will also check the octopus's tonic immobility by testing one of the suckers with tactile stimulation. I touch the sucker with a glove and we can see only local responses. Only the sucker and the neighboring parts of the arm respond, while the rest of the octopus stays still, which is a good sign. Here, after the tonic immobility and local anesthesia, I am now implanting a tiny tungsten wire electrode. I take the anesthetized arm and gently push through the implant with a very thin needle, and the octopus doesn't really respond. There are some small local movements around the needle, but the rest of the octopus keeps quite still and doesn't really seem to notice it. After I push the implant through, I compress the arm a little bit and pull the needle out, leaving the tungsten wire behind, implanted in the arm tissue. So here's the octopus after 3 electrodes implanted in the arm. She's again quite still here, much like what we saw during the tonic immobility procedure. And we can see as soon as I flip the octopus back and let her out of the net, she starts moving fairly quickly. So the recovery here is much faster than any other kind of general anesthesia. And tonic immobility for us is much preferred to ethanol anesthesia, as our earlier experiences suggest that ethanol may have some adverse effects on the tissues and neural activity, as well as potentially making the octopus a bit groggy sometime after the recovery. And here's the octopus back in her home tank after a tonic immobility procedure, and we can see she readily takes a piece of food, suggesting a good recovery. And here's another example of her playing with a little shell toy in a new home tank.